Hello, Chapter 11, Social Networks, Auctions, and Portals. This chapter introduces social networks, auctions, and portals. The thread relating these three topics is that each in its own way involves communities on the internet. The opening case, social network fever spreads to professions. This case on the explosive growth of social networks is a good way to understand the topic. Social networks and online communities are places where people who share common ties gather and communicate. People tend to think of social network sites as merely involving young generations. But in fact, social networks have expanded far beyond that limited demographic and now encompasses broad swath of professionals and business people. Politicians are getting into the act by developing networking communities around their candidates and using Twitter to stay in touch with the devoted fans. Some questions to discuss on this case include the following. How has the growth of social networks enabled the creation of more specific niche sites? What are some example social network sites with a financial or business focus? Describe some common features and activities on these social network sites. What features of social networks best explain their popularity? Today's social networks have a strong user-generated content base and more many-to-many communications channels. They are enablers of social interaction. The rapid adoption and intense use of mobile devices has also contributed to the continued growth of social networks. The Insight on Technology case, the appification of Facebook explores how the use of apps is transforming Facebook. Questions for discussion include the following. Why are investors concerned about Facebook becoming an app platform? Should they be? Have you used any of Facebook's apps? If so, what has the experience been like? Is it significant that the most popular of Facebook's separate apps are those that it has purchased rather than developed in-house? Will new apps help Facebook stem its flatlining audience growth? Now it's time to talk about the business side of social networks, both from the social networks perspective and from the perspective of businesses that would like to use social networks for marketing, advertising, and social e-commerce. It's important for you to realize that the use of social networks by businesses is not risk-free. The Insight on Society case, the dark side of social networks, examines some of these risks. Discussion questions include the following. How can business accurately judge whether negative comments are trolling or have merit and should be responded to? Have you ever left a negative comment about the product or business? Have others' negative comments influenced the purchase you are considering? Should the business have any say in how an employee uses social networks outside of the office? Now let's consider types of social networks and their business models. Interest-based social networks, affinity communities, and sponsored communities. They are the types of social networks. Now a new topic on auctions. Auctions are the most successful form of B2C and C2C e-commerce. The future growth in auctions is expected to be strong, and the fastest growing segment is expected to be B2C auctions sponsored by traditional fixed price merchants. You may think of online auctions as producing the lowest prices for consumers, but in fact, there are many situations where auctions include consumers pay higher prices than offered by traditional liquidators. Auctions are dynamically priced markets. Please read the definition of dynamic pricing introduced in Chapter 6 earlier and the various types of dynamic pricing, and contrasting these to fixed pricing. Think about costs and benefits of fixed pricing. Why do merchants want to charge fixed prices? Now let's consider benefits and cost of auctions. The internet is primarily responsible for the resurgence in auctions. The internet provides a global environment and a very low fixed and operational costs for the aggregation of huge buyer audiences composed of millions of consumers worldwide who can use a universally available technology to shop for goods. The benefits of auctions. Aside from the sheer game-like fun of participating in auctions, consumers, merchants, and society as a whole derive a number of economic benefits from participating in internet auctions. They are liquidity. Sellers can find the willing buyers and buyers can find the sellers. sellers and buyers can be located anywhere around the globe. And price discovery. Buyers and sellers can quickly and efficiently develop prices for items that are difficult to assess, where the price depends on demand, supply, and where the product is rare. Another one is price transparency. Public internet auctions allow everyone in the world to see the asking and bidding prices for items. Market efficiency. Auctions can, and often do, lead to reduced prices and hence reduced profits for merchants, leading to an increase in consumer welfare, one measure of market efficiency. Lower transaction costs. Online auctions can lower the cost of selling and purchasing products, benefiting both merchants and consumers. Consumer aggregation. Sellers benefit from large auction sites' ability to aggregate to a large number of consumers who are motivated to purchase something in one marketplace. Network effects. The larger an auction site becomes in terms of visitors and products for sale, the more valuable it becomes as a marketplace for everyone by providing liquidity and several other benefits listed previously, such as lower transaction costs, higher efficiency, and better price transparency. Then, what are the risks and costs of auctions? There are a number of risks and costs involved in participating in auctions. In some cases, auction markets can fail, like all markets at times. Delayed consumption costs. Internet auctions can go on for days, and shipping will take additional time. Monitoring costs. Participation in auctions requires your time to monitor bidding. Equipment costs. Internet auctions will require you to purchase a computer system and pay for internet access. Trust risks. Online auctions are a significant source of internet fraud. Using auctions increases the risk of experiencing a loss. Fulfillment costs. Typically, the buyer pays fulfillment costs of packing, shipping, and insurance, whereas at the physical store, these costs are included in the retail price. Now let's take a look at auctions as an e-commerce business model. Online auctions have been among the most successful business models in retail and B2B commerce. eBay, the internet's most lucrative auction sites, has been profitable nearly since its inception. The strategy for eBay has been to make money off every stage in the auction cycle. eBay earns revenue from auctions in several ways: transaction fees based on the amount of the sale, listing fees for display of goods, financial service fees from payment systems such as PayPal, and advertising or placement fees where sellers pay extra for special services such as particular display or listing services. PayPal has been faster growing and more profitable than eBay's markets, growing to more than half of eBay's revenue. In 2015, eBay spun off PayPal into a separate company, and going forward will have to make its profits from its market operation. However, it is on the cost side that online auctions have extraordinary advantages of ordinary retail or catalog sites. Auction sites carry no inventory and do not perform any fulfillment activities. They need no warehouses, shipping, or logistical facilities. Sellers and consumers provide these services and bear these costs. In this sense, online auctions are an ideal digital business because they involve simply the transfer of information. Even though eBay has been extraordinarily successful, the success of online auction is qualified by the fact that the marketplace for online auctions is highly concentrated. eBay dominates the online auction market, followed by eBid and Ubid. In the last several years, eBay's growth has slowed considerably as consumers shift toward buy now purchases rather than auctions. Many of the smaller auction sites are not profitable because they lack sufficient sellers and buyers to achieve liquidity. In auctions, network effects are highly influential, and the tendency is for one or two very large auction sites to dominate, with hundreds of smaller special auction sites being barely profitable. There are different types of auctions. The text describes focuses on four primary types of auctions: English auctions, eBay; Dutch internet auctions, name your own price auctions, like Priceline; and penny bidding fee auctions. Table 11.6 provides a list of factors that managers should take into account when considering auctions for various products, from type of product to product life cycle to closed versus open bidding. Consumer behavior at auctions is very interesting because at times it is non-rational. Consumers behave at auctions in ways contrary to neoclassical, profit-maximizing decision makers. Prices are influenced by the number of units, length of the auction, the rival rate of bidders, and herd behavior, where bidders follow other bidders and bid the price higher. You are also consumers. You should be aware of these factors to protect yourselves, and you should also be aware of the numerous opportunities for fraud on popular auction sites. Now let's get into e-commerce portals. Portals originally acted as search engine gateway to the web. Today, they seek to operate their destination sites, like television networks attracting huge audiences to their proprietary offerings of news, products, entertainment, and content. While attracting the largest audiences of all sites on the web, portals face a difficult challenge in producing profits. The portal market is characterized by network effects, which has led inevitably to the dominance of a few sites. Figure 11.4 illustrates the different types of portals: general purpose and vertical market portals. The portal business is quite complex. Table 11.7 depicts the major revenue sources for portals. In general, deep, vertical content pitched to a targeted audience produces the highest revenues per customer. The survival strategy for general purpose portals is therefore to attract a general audience and then offer deep channels of specialized interest where consumers can be exposed to highly targeted advertising. Finally, the insight on business case, the transformation of AOL, describes the fate of the world's first true internet portal over a 15-year period. This case is a good illustration of the fact that a company that is on top in one era of the internet may not be on top in subsequent eras. In its third current rebirth, AOL is moving into a network of websites, content development, and selling exclusive ads on the sites it owns. It has lost the search engine market and is seeking to sell primarily banner and display ads. It remains to be seen if this strategy will work any better than previous strategies. The following are some discussion questions for this case. What types of decisions have led to AOL's decline in popularity? What are AOL's current strategies? Do you think its new strategies will succeed? Have you engaged in any social video interaction similar to HubPost Live discussions? Thank you.